Hola damas y caballeros, bienvenidos otra vez a mi canal de Bayou Hombre. Aquí estoy estudiando mis flashcards de italiano, pero este video no es sobre de italiano. I wanted to start off just by saying that I'm making this video because I made a promise in another video that I was in that I would start back making videos on this channel. I originally created this channel so that I could show my process and document my process to learning Spanish from zero to fluency, or what I'm calling my fluency. My fluency may look different from your fluency, but this is mine. And what I decided to do with this video was to give at least 4 of my biggest regrets to learning Spanish. I could make an entire video on my biggest regret, which I'll get to in just a second, because it is my biggest regret that I made. And if I could go back and change things, I would. This thing that I'm speaking about it didn't really hinder the learning process. As a matter of fact, the fact that I didn't do it is probably why I became fluent a little faster than I wanted to. But it's still a regret, and it's something that I would change if I could turn back the hands of time. So I do plan to do part of this video in English, because I do know there are some English speakers out there that are kind of on that same journey that I was on. So if that's you, I'm going to make most of this video in English so that you can understand and maybe take some advice from this. So I have 4 things that I've written down here. I like to write stuff down. I'm a writer. I make flashcards. I do all those things. But I wrote down 4 specifically that I could think of that I wanted to share in this video. So I'll just jump right into it. I don't really like making long videos. So I'll get right into them. Of course, if you have any questions, leave them in the comments below. Also flashing my Tigres jersey. Vamos Tigres. I'm going to start. I'm going to go right in and tell you the biggest regret that I have from learning Spanish. Throughout this entire journey, I have one regret. It is the biggest, and it's the one that I'm going to start with. Not documenting the process. So when I started this channel, that is what I set out to do. I set out to document the entire process so that I can show people that I knew, people that I didn't know, what it took, the process, the resources that I use to learn. So that is why I started this channel, Bayou Hombre. That was the whole purpose to all of this. I didn't really have any ideas for videos or anything like that. I just wanted to make a video log of everything that I was doing. The struggles, the different resources that I was using, the many times that I practiced, the many times that I traveled, because I've traveled to almost all of Latin America at this point solo and had to get by on my own Spanish speaking skills. There were a lot of moments where it should have been recorded and I did not. I enjoyed the hell out of it, enjoyed the process. One of my favorite things in the world is meeting people. That is what I love to do. It's a passion of mine. And combining that with my love of learning languages, it would have made such great content. But hindsight is 2020. This is one that I'm going to have to live with, even though going forward, I do plan to continue making videos and documenting this process. So I'm not completely bummed. Look, I am in a relationship with a native Spanish speaker. The learning will not stop. So I will be documenting that, because I am in a relationship with someone who speaks the language. Our relationship is in Spanish. I communicate with her family often. I am always, every single day, I am learning a new word, a new phrase, and listening and being directly involved in the language. So number one, right out of the gate, that is my biggest regret, is not documenting this process like I wanted to. I would really encourage you, document the process. You don't even have to upload it to YouTube. Just make your own videos. You know, if you're afraid to put them on YouTube, don't do it. It's okay. But make them for yourself. You can go back and practice them, go back and watch them to see how you progressed, from the start to the finish. So if you're seeing this and you are beginning that journey, I would encourage you to document the process. You will be so happy that you did. Now, the next three are just, these are really like personal things that I noticed, and I probably would change if I could start over. So I'll go through these quickly. And, if you're out there and you're currently learning, I know you would probably understand this at least a little. Whether you consider it or not, is a different thing, but I know you would at least understand these things. So I would say the second regret that I had is learning from multiple countries. It has its advantages, because I truly believe that Spanish is Spanish. However, it is very different in each country. I spent a lot of time in Mexico, Panama, Colombia, and each one of these different countries, of course, they have their way of speaking, their slang, los modismos. I would have to say it's different enough to where it can cause a lot of confusion. And I've seen this personally in Colombia, going around with a guy from the north of Mexico, just telling me, expressing to me, this native Spanish speaker, that, he was having a hard time understanding Colombians. So it's a little different. So if I had to go back, I would select a country. I kind of figured I'd be traveling to Mexico more because it's one of my favorite countries. That's where Mexico City is, which is my favorite place on earth. But I would definitely go back and I would select one country and try my best to learn as much as I can in that place before bouncing around. My first teacher, she was from Mexico. My second teacher was from Argentina. Third, Nicaragua. And number three, I would say I would stick with a basis for learning, whether that's taking a class with a curriculum. I started with Rosetta Stone and I completed the program. My plan was to start a different program and completely finish that one, because I found so much value in going through that entire process on Rosetta Stone, and I learned a lot from it. And it gave me a great base. And my plan was to continue doing that for the next 12 months in order to have more structure. Because I think in the beginning of the language learning journey, it's important to have a little bit of structure in our chaotic lives. So as long as you're learning, it's great. And number four, I'll get through really quick, but I think it's another very important one. So when I first started my language learning journey, I was obsessed with how I sounded. So instead of focusing on vocabulary or listening comprehension, I was so focused and so motivated to sound native. And I can't even tell you what native I was striving for. Mexican or Puerto Rican, Colombian, I couldn't tell you. I just wanted to sound native. In the beginning, don't focus on that. Don't focus on how you sound, because you will sound non-native. Focus on the learning. Focus on comprehension, conjugation of verbs and phrases. Don't focus on how you sound. I spent so much time, energy, and effort and worrying just how I sounded. When I finally got in front of Spanish speakers, I was so concerned with how I sounded that I think it got in the way of me actually being able to communicate, which is, again, why we learn in the first place. Don't focus on that. That's just a tip. If I could go back, I would focus more on that. I think I would have gotten to the level that I am a little faster if I was more focused on that, as opposed to sounding like I'm a native speaker of the language, which I really don't care about. I still make errors all the time, but I am so comfortable now, and trying to sound native just kind of comes easy now. So those are my 4 biggest regrets. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I'm looking forward to making more. I'm a traveler. I do plan to travel more and interact with Spanish speakers. I'm at a comfortable level now, and I have started a new journey to learning Italian. So I may be documenting that a little bit on this channel as well. So if you're starting your journey, keep going. You can get there. I love the language learning community, and I'm happy to be a part of it. And I want to contribute as much as I can to this channel and supporting other creators that are on the journey as well. Nos vemos pronto y cuídense mucho.